I'm Judith Wellick here at the Jewish Community Center on October 19th, 2008 with Anita Gutkin and Marilyn Tomback. You two are sisters, and I understand you came here very early. You did first, then your sister was born.
Well, I came when I was 3 in 1935 or 36, and my sister was born 9.5 years later. So I was here a while before she came.
And how was your childhood here in Phoenix?
Interesting, because we really truly, in a non-Jewish community where when I was in the first grade, children wouldn't play with me, she's Jewish, in the sandbox, but we overcame that. I grew up in a Jewish community, well-rounded in Jewish life, and our lives kind of revolved around the Jewish community. I remember walking as I got older. We went to the synagogue was on 4th Street in Fillmore, and it was a small building. And in fact, I taught Sunday school when I was 14 because they couldn't get another teacher, so they drafted me to teach Sunday school and direct the Purim and the Hanukkah plays. So our lives were pretty involved with the Jewish community, and my father was quite active in the Jewish community. In fact, he started the Chevra Kadisha. He was the originator of that after my brother got killed just before Anita was born, and there was no one to take care. There was no Jewish chapel. There was nothing that they were able to care for Jewish deaths, and my father after that swore another Jewish person would not die in this town without the proper ritual. So he started the Chevra Kadisha. And very involved in Bethel, and then in fact he was even one of the beginners of Beth Hebrew. He was president of the ZOA here. So our lives were very involved. We led a very conservative Jewish life, actually more to the Orthodox, but called it conservative.
So in what ways were you, as an adult, involved in the Jewish community?
As an adult, I got married and moved to Chicago. But I was very involved as a teenager growing up. As I said, I taught Sunday school. I was one of the founders of the first B'nai B'rith, young girls B'nai B'rith group here, and we formed an AZA chapter. And I was probably, I don't know, the second or third president of Junior Hadassah that we formed here, which I don't even know if it's still in existence. So I was very involved in the Jewish community. And we had these wonderful dances. The shuls had wonderful dances for the high school kids, grammar school kids, the older generation.
Like with live musicians and things that you don't see anymore, right?
Yeah, we had some live, and then we had some record players. We had old, you know, the big 78 discs. Someone would play the records. And so we had wonderful times. We really did. It was a nice, involved Jewish community always, even when there were few.
So you're 10 years younger.
Yes.
So your experience was different.
Yes.
Tell me something about it.
I also was active as a child because I think we learned the legacy from our parents. My mother was active in the Bikur Cholim that was originated at Bethel, that was the visiting of the sick. My mother and father cooked and did so much and were so active in the affairs of B'nai B'rith, where they actually did hands-on work to make these fabulous dinners to raise money. As my sister said, I can remember meetings at our home for the Zionist Organization of America. I can remember meetings in my home for the start of the Kivel nursing home that were in our home at Portland. Some of the things that my sister referred to, was still active in my life. Rabbi Dow came to my home, and taught me Hebrew lessons, taught me Bereshis Boro Elohim, in the beginning God created. I did learn how to read Hebrew, but not to speak Hebrew. I was confirmed at Bethel, and have some pictures of people that are still in Phoenix. Bernard Sunshine, Dr. Sunshine, Judy Mallon at the time. Pictures from my confirmation at Bethel.
So you've seen a lot of rabbis come and go.
Yes, yes. In fact, it's interesting that you bring that up, because when I was a little girl, the first rabbi that I remember was a rabbi named Nathan Barrick. And I can remember the scuttlebutt in the community. I remember hearing them say, well, he's a wonderful, wonderful man, but Phoenix has just outgrown him. Lo and behold, he went to a place in Wisconsin after leaving Phoenix called Sheboygan, Wisconsin. I go to Northwestern University, and I meet my husband-to-be, Jerry, and we start to talk, and he tells me of his rabbi, Rabbi Nathan Barrick. So here are these two Jews, one from Wisconsin, one from Phoenix, Arizona, and we have this rabbi in common. So that was the first rabbi that I remember. And then there was a Rabbi Sheckman here, whose daughter I think still lives here. Her name is Faggy Paller. And I don't know if anybody's had the opportunity to interview her. I'm sure it would be interesting. At Bethel there was Rabbi Carol Klein and Rabbi Tuttenauer. Rabbi Silverman. And so my memory goes way back for many rabbis, wonderful rabbis.
How many locations were there in your lifetime of Bethel?
Well, it was, like my sister said, on 4th Street and Fillmore. My father was very active in fundraising for Bethel. I have a journal here that I want to give to the Arizona Jewish Historical Society. It has names and what they contributed, which is probably fairly safe at this point in time, from 1945. And so my father was very active in raising funds, and they built the building on 5th Avenue in McDowell. Third, well, is it 3rd Avenue? I'm sorry. Anyway, I used to walk to Hebrew school from Portland to McDowell, which was from Roosevelt to McDowell, and I did that 3 days a week and was confirmed there.
So what would you say was some outstanding experiences that you had as a Jew in Phoenix?
Well, I'm going to fast forward, because I've lived in Phoenix all of my life except for the 7 years that I was away at school and having my husband finish graduate school. And so when we came back, we had two small children, and I wanted to be a part of the Jewish community. I can remember a sermon from a rabbi at Bethel talking about identity when I was a very young teenager, and somehow it still resonates with me, and the meaning of identity and Jewish identity, I still feel that very strongly. I'm very comfortable around other Jews. Even though growing up in Phoenix I had a dual life, my life in school and my life after school. But my sense of being a Jew is very strong, and so when we came back, I joined Hadassah, and it wasn't very long. I was only in my 20s. I became the president of Tamar Hadassah.
I think in the final analysis, I think what Anita just brought to mind to me is the fact that growing up in a town like Phoenix, Arizona, when there were so few Jews, particularly when I arrived, we grew up feeling, as my sister said, this Jewish identity that was given to us by the Jewish community that was here, as well as from our parents and our surroundings, and we've maintained it, and all we can do is hope that our children will go on and maintain it also.